Hello friends, myself Dr. Nandakumar Raubawale from College of Engineering Ambazogai is going to deal with Applied Thermodynamics 1. This is our 49th lecture. In previous lecture, we have discussed about numericals on reciprocating air compressor. Now today, we are going to start a new topic known as a steam turbine. So we will discuss today introduction to steam turbine. Then we'll see what are the advantages of steam turbine over steam engine and classification of steam turbine, how steam turbines are classified, then difference between impulse and reaction turbine, compounding of turbine, velocity diagram for steam turbine. So now the steam turbines are nothing but the prime movers. Primarily, the steam turbine and steam engine are the two prime movers which are going to produce power from the steam. Steam pressure acting directly on the piston is utilized for developing power in case of a reciprocating steam engine. The steam engines can even be operated without any pressure drop in the cylinder. Non-expensive steam engines, for example. But the operation of steam turbines wholly depends upon the dynamic action of steam expanded through nozzles. In case of steam turbines, the enthalpy of steam is first converted into kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy which is converted in the nozzle is passed into the blades or over the blades, curved blades, which change the flow direction of steam and causes the force to be exerted on the blades. The blades which are mounted on the rotor make the rotor to rotate, and hence the power is developed in case of a steam turbine. Now the steam turbines which are steam prime movers broadly classified into two categories such as steam engine and steam turbine. Now we will see what are the advantages of steam turbine over steam engine. So very first advantage is thermodynamic efficiency of turbine plant is higher, as this is a rotary part and the speed achieved by turbine is constant and that remains forever, whereas in case of reciprocating engine, steam engine, the speed of piston has to change the direction. Once piston is started to move in one direction, so the velocity or speed attained by piston reaches to zero when it reaches to another end. So that's why there is a loss in the efficiency, and the thermal energy or heat energy cannot be converted to that extent into the mechanical work as that of in case of turbine. And second, the turbine plant works on Rankine cycle, whereas steam engine works on modified Rankine cycle. So as in case of modified Rankine cycle, we are going to lose some part of heat energy which is not extracted or which is not converted into mechanical work, because that part of heat energy we are leaving because it is insufficient to overcome the friction in a steam engine. But in case of turbine plant, it works on pure Rankine cycle and maximum amount of heat energy can be extracted in turbine. Then a steam engine, steam turbine is a simplified machine, requires less maintenance. So it has got a balanced part, or balancing is perfect, whereas in case of steam engine, balancing is not so perfect and there is a friction. But in case of steam turbine, very less friction is observed. In case only where the bearings are supported, there only the friction is observed. But in steam engine, the friction is between piston and cylinder and various components such as connecting rod and all. So it requires very less maintenance if we use steam turbine. Life of steam turbine is more because it is a rotary machine and has got less wear, and it is a perfectly balanced machine. Therefore, life of steam turbine is more compared to the steam engine. Then condensate of steam turbine can be used directly as a feed water. So condensate coming out of steam turbine can be used directly as a feed water. But in case of steam engine, the condensate coming out of steam engine, condenser of steam engine cannot be used directly as a feed water, because it overcomes or it comes in contact with the reciprocating part, which are lubricated, and the lubricant gets added with the steam as well as the condensate. So therefore it needs some sort of processing before supplying it to the boiler. Then there is no condensation loss in steam turbine. So here the condensation loss is observed in case of a steam engine. Then in steam turbine, noise and vibrations are minimum, as there is less friction, and imbalance or a perfect balance is made in case of steam turbine. Noise and vibrations are minimum, whereas in steam engine the reciprocating parts are there, definitely the perfect balancing cannot be achieved, and as there is a friction between the piston and cylinder, so friction takes place and noise is created. At the same time, vibrations are also generated. The steam turbine runs at a very high speed. Steam turbine runs at very high speed, whereas steam engine runs at a very low speed. The steam turbine can be designed from very few kilowatt to 1000 megawatt. So the steam engine cannot be designed for a wide range, whereas steam turbines can be designed for a very high range, so from smaller range to highest range, but this is not possible with the steam engine. So now classification of steam turbine. How steam turbines are classified? So steam turbines are classified into two categories. One is impulse turbine and another is impulse reaction turbine. Generally this is known as reaction turbine. So impulse reaction turbine is known as simply reaction turbine or impulse reaction turbine. So these are the two categories of steam turbine which are in use. Now let us see what this impulse turbine is and what is this reaction turbine. In impulse turbine, the steam coming out at very high velocity through fixed nozzle. So here you can see this is a fixed nozzle. Steam comes out from this nozzle at very high velocity and impinges on the blades of a rotor. So this high velocity steam impinges on the blade of a rotor, which are mounted on the periphery of a rotor drum, and the force exerted by this steam makes this blade to rotate along with this rotor, and this rotor is connected to the generator. So this is how the force which is applied on this blade is because of impingement of steam which comes out of this nozzle. So very high pressure steam is passed through this nozzle. There the pressure is converted into velocity, and very high velocity steam comes out, and this steam at very high velocity strikes to this blade and makes this blade to rotate. A new blade comes in path of this steam, again that gets heated with the steam, and hence this rotor starts to rotate, and the power is heat energy is converted into mechanical work. So initially heat energy or enthalpy which comes with the steam is converted in this nozzle in a kinetic energy, that is nothing but in terms of velocity, and that high velocity steam impinges on these blades. Now in case of impulse reaction turbine, the steam expands in both in blade as well as in nozzle. So here as this steam is passed through this rotor itself, and then it comes out of this nozzle, and when this steam is expanded in this nozzle, this offers the back force, that is reaction to this nozzle, and this nozzle starts to rotate, and this nozzle which is connected to the rotor makes this rotor also to rotate just like a rocket. So the rocket, when we burn the flame of a rocket in Deepavali, so this flame makes the fuel to burn, and immediately as soon as it starts to burn, the high velocity flame forces this rocket in upward direction. In the same way, the reaction force acts in this reaction turbine, impulse reaction turbine, and because of which this rotor starts to rotate. So in pure reaction turbine, the high pressure steam from boiler is passed through the nozzle as shown in this figure, and when the steam comes out of these nozzles, the velocity of steam increases relative to rotating disc. The resulting reaction force of steam on the nozzle gives rotating motion to this disc and the shaft. The shaft rotates in opposite direction to that of the steam jet. So steam jet comes out of this, and rotor rotates in opposite direction. So this is how this reaction turbine and impulse turbine work. So in case of impulse turbine, the blades are symmetrical. So if you see uh, about this line of symmetry, so this blade is symmetrical on both the sides. But in case of reaction turbine, the blades are of this type. So it has got aerofoil profile. So this is the aerofoil profile, and because of this, the blades which are used in reaction turbine are not symmetrical. These have aerofoil profile or shape. So in case of impulse turbine, blades are symmetrical, whereas in case of reaction turbine, blades have got aerofoil shape. Now let us see how this impulse turbine works and how pressure and velocity is going to vary in case of impulse turbine as well as in case of reaction turbine. So now the blade arrangement in case of a turbine. So first turbine is impulse turbine. In this impulse turbine, we can see here, this is the part which is known as nozzle, through which steam is passed. So as steam is passed through the nozzle, velocity of steam, so high pressure steam is passed. When it is passed through the nozzle, velocity of steam increases and pressure gets reduced. So the high velocity steam comes out of this nozzle and impacts over these blades. So these are the black black color shown. These are the blades. So this steam injected hits to this blade and makes this blade to rotate. So these blades, set of blades, are going to rotate. So these are the moving blades. We call this as a moving blade. Now we see here, initially steam has got high pressure. So when it enters into the nozzle, the pressure of steam gradually decreases and simultaneously velocity of steam increases. So this is the velocity profile. So this shows velocity and this shows pressure. So there is a decrease in pressure and increase in velocity. So simultaneously pressure gets reduced, velocity increases. That means the enthalpy is converted into kinetic energy. When it comes and hits to the blade, then the velocity gradually decreases and this pressure remains constant. Pressure of steam remains constant and velocity gradually decreases. Velocity gradually decreases and it comes out from this turbine. So this will be the velocity at the outlet of turbine and this will be the pressure. So this pressure which is at which steam comes out is nothing but the condenser pressure. So steam is expanded in the nozzle from boiler pressure to the condenser pressure, and when steam comes out with the condenser pressure, it enters into the condenser for condensation process. This is how the pressure increases, velocity gets reduced, and afterwards pressure remains constant, whereas velocity of steam when it impinges on the blade gradually decreases and finally it becomes constant when it comes out of this steam turbine and enters into the condenser at condenser pressure. So this is how the pressure is converted into kinetic energy, and kinetic energy of steam is converted into mechanical work. So now looking at this impulse reaction turbine. So these are the fixed blade, set of fixed blade. So now steam is passed through the set of fixed blade. When steam is passed through set of fixed blade, so this fixed set of fixed blade acts as a nozzle. So when the steam is passed through the nozzle, velocity of steam increases and pressure gets reduced. Now we can see here the velocity increases gradually, whereas pressure decreases. So when it comes out of this set of fixed blade, now it will enter into this set of moving blades. So these are the moving blades. So when steam enters into these moving blades, again what happens, this steam at high velocity makes this set of moving blades to start to rotate over the drum, and velocity of steam gradually decreases, whereas the pressure also gets reduced. So when velocity gets reduced, so pressure also gets reduced, velocity also gets reduced. Again the steam is passed into the set of fixed blade. Once again it is passed through the set of blade, so velocity is again increased, pressure gets reduced. So simultaneously there is a reduction in pressure, increase in velocity in a fixed set of fixed blade. Again this steam at high velocity enters into the set of moving blades. When it enters into the set of moving blade, again this makes this set of moving blade to rotate. Again this velocity gradually decreases, whereas pressure of steam also gradually decreases. So then the steam comes out at the condenser pressure, so then it enters into the condenser and steam comes out at the lowest velocity. So in case of a impulse reaction turbine, so here it acts as a impulse turbine as well as a reaction turbine. So here when steam is passed through a fixed set of blade, velocity is increased. This high velocity steam exerts force on the moving blade. At that time it acts as a impulse turbine. But when steam enters into this set of moving blade, then automatically this velocity of this is going to decrease, whereas pressure also gets reduced. At that time it exerts force, reaction force on the moving blade, so it helps these blades to move. So simultaneously it acts as a impulse turbine as well as a reaction turbine. So moreover generally it is known as a reaction turbine. So this steam is expanded in multiple stages in case of a impulse reaction turbine. First it passes through fixed blade where kinetic energy is increased and pressure is reduced. Then it passes through the set of a moving blade, then steam is passed through the again set of fixed blade, again it is passed through the set of moving blade. So initially pressure of steam gets reduced when it passes through the set of fixed blade, velocity increases. Then again when it passes through the set of moving blade, so pressure gradually decreases, but the fall in the pressure is very less. Simultaneously there is a decrease in the velocity. So here there is a conversion of kinetic energy into mechanical work. Again steam is passed through the set of fixed blade, so pressure falls here, again velocity is going to increase, and then steam enters into the set of moving blade, and there is a decrease in the pressure as well as decrease in the velocity. Steam comes out at the condenser pressure and then it is passed into the condenser. So this is how the impulse reaction turbine works. Now what is compounding of a steam turbine and what is the necessity of compounding? So in order to increase efficiency of a turbine, we have increased the steam pressure as well as steam temperature. So the steam pressure and steam temperatures have been increased to greater extent. Nowadays steam pressure which is increased is about 100 to 140 bar. So now when the steam pressure is increased from 100 to 140 bar, so the pressure of steam which enters into the turbine, if it is expanded in a single stage, So there will be very high velocity of steam as well as the high velocity steam when passes over the blades of turbine. So blades of turbine will also start to rotate at a very high speed. So the very high speed of blades or rotary motion of steam turbine blades will cause to exert very high centrifugal force, and that may cause damage to the parts or components of a steam turbine. If entire pressure drop from boiler pressure to condenser pressure takes place in a single stage, then a very high velocity will be attained by steam as well as the rotor of a turbine, and that will cause loss because of centrifugal force. So now then the velocity will be very high, turbine speed will be very high. The excessive force over the components leads to failure of blades. Now, high velocity steam inlet causes loss of kinetic energy about 10 to 12%. So, immediate increase in the kinetic energy causes loss of 10 to 12%. That is another disadvantage. So, therefore, compounding of steam turbine is made. So, what is this compounding? The compounding of steam turbine is made in order to overcome the difficulties of very high velocity of steam and high speed of turbine, which causes damage to the turbine parts, as well as the loss of kinetic energy, which occurs about 10 to 12%. So the compounding of steam turbine is nothing but the expansion of steam is carried out in multiple stages instead of single stage. It is expanded in multiple stage, and the pressure drop is divided into number of stages or multiple stages. So now very first type of compounding. So there are three types of compounding: velocity compounding, pressure compounding, and velocity pressure compounding. So first we will discuss about velocity compounding of steam turbine. The arrangement of this type of compounding, which is shown in this figure, there is only one set of nozzle. We can see here there is only one set of nozzle, so through which steam is passed, and two or more rows of moving blades. So here this is a first row of moving blade, this is second row of moving blade, and in between two moving blades there is one row of fixed blades. So there is a single set of fixed blade. The function of fixed blade is only to direct the steam. So here when steam comes into this set of moving blade, and then when it enters into the set of fixed blade, so this set of fixed blade has the role to give the direction to the steam to pass into the next set of moving blade, and the enthalpy drop takes place only in the nozzle at first stage. So here enthalpy drop takes place, but after that the enthalpy drop is not going to take place. So here the enthalpy is converted into kinetic energy, and gradually this steam is passed through the set of moving blade, fixed blade, moving blade, fixed blade. Then these sets of moving blade convert kinetic energy into the mechanical work. When it comes into the set of moving blade, kinetic energy is converted into the mechanical work. Gradually this velocity of steam is reduced. Now we can see here the pressure of steam is reduced in first set of nozzle, whereas the velocity of steam increases in this nozzle. So the high velocity steam is passed into first set of nozzle, then again it is passed through the set of blade. So velocity gets reduced in first set to some extent. Again the steam at constant velocity moves or passes through the set of fixed blade, and then enters into the next set of moving blade. Again velocity is reduced, so velocity finally reaches to the stagnation, whereas pressure falls suddenly in the single stage. So this is known as a pressure velocity compounding. So only one set of nozzle is provided here. Only one set of nozzle is provided. We can see only one set of nozzle is provided, and the two or more rows of moving blade. Two or more rows of moving blade are provided. Next one, there is a row of fixed guide blades between two moving blades. So between two moving blades, there is one set of fixed blade, and the enthalpy drop takes place only in the nozzle. So delta H takes place in nozzle. Then the enthalpy drop converted into kinetic energy. So when this enthalpy of steam gets reduced, so velocity increases. Say for example, V1 is the inlet velocity, V2 will be the outlet velocity through this nozzle. V2 will be very high compared to V1. So this V2 is attained by the loss of enthalpy. Then the kinetic energy is successively absorbed and converted. So this kinetic energy, very high velocity, is successively in every stage it is absorbed and converted into mechanical work. So variation of velocity, pressure and specific volume is shown in this diagram. So here, as we have seen, pressure gets reduced in nozzle, and from boiler pressure to the condenser pressure, and this steam at same pressure passes through all these sets of blade, whereas the velocity initially increases to certain level, and then gradually velocity decreases in first set. Then when it passes through the moving set of blade, then velocity remains constant. Again when it passes through the moving set of blade, then velocity gets reduced, and finally it comes out at particular velocity. And the specific volume of steam increases. So when pressure gets reduced, specific volume is going to increase in the nozzle, and once this pressure is reduced, as this pressure remains constant, specific volume also remains constant throughout the process. Now second type of compounding is known as a pressure compounding of steam. So this pressure compounding of steam is nothing but a combination of impulse turbine arranged in series, number of impulse turbines. So this is first nozzle. So steam passed through this nozzle, its enthalpy drop takes place, and velocity increases from V1 to V2. Then it passes through the set of moving blade. This kinetic energy is converted into mechanical work. Again it passes through the set of fixed blade. So this set of fixed blade works just like a nozzle. So first nozzle, second nozzle, and so on. So here this acts as a nozzle. Again here velocity increases, and it converts enthalpy into the kinetic energy, and this high velocity steam enters into the set of moving blade. So this is nothing but pressure compounding is nothing but there are number of impulse turbines arranged in series. This is first impulse turbine, then this is second impulse turbine, and so on. So here if we see this pressure is going to reduce in first nozzle, whereas velocity increases in this nozzle. When it passes through the moving set of blade, velocity gets reduced, so pressure remains constant. When it passes through the set of fixed blade, again this pressure falls, whereas velocity is going to increase. When it passes through the set of moving blade, velocity gets reduced, pressure remains constant, and comes out at the condenser pressure. So the specific volume of steam is going to increase. When pressure falls, specific volume starts to increase. When pressure remains constant, specific volume remains constant. Again pressure falls in this region, so pressure falls, whereas specific volume is going to increase. So when pressure remains constant, and specific volume also remains constant. So now we can see one row of fixed blades after each row of moving blade acting as a nozzle. So here after every set of moving blade there is one set of fixed blades, and this set of fixed blade acts as a nozzle. Then the total pressure drop does not take place in single stage, as in case of previous case we have seen the pressure drop takes place only in nozzle, but here pressure drop takes in nozzle as well as in sets of fixed blade. Every stage the pressure drop takes place. Now the pressure of steam gradually decreases. So pressure is not reduced in first stage, it decreases gradually in every stage. The variation of velocity, pressure and specific volume is shown in this diagram. So pressure first reduces in the nozzle, whereas velocity increases in the nozzle. So when the steam passes through the set of moving blade, velocity gets reduced, pressure remains constant. When this steam passes through the set of next fixed blades, then pressure falls because steam is expanded and velocity increases. Again, when this steam passes through the set of moving blade, velocity gets reduced, pressure remains constant. So this is how the variation of pressure, velocity and specific volume takes place in pressure compounding of steam turbine. Now coming to this pressure velocity compounding of steam turbine. So it is a combination of pressure compounding and velocity compounding. Now we can see here it is combination of pressure and velocity compounding. Now total pressure drop is divided into stages. So this first part acts as a impulse turbine. Then second part, this again acts as a impulse turbine. So and in between this impulse turbine, here this is velocity compounding. We can call this as a velocity compounding. Moving blade, fixed blade, moving blade, then this is a fixed blade, but this fixed blade acts as a nozzle. So this fixed blade and these fixed blades are different. So these have symmetrical profile, these have non-symmetrical. Aerofoil is the profile of this blade. So this acts as a nozzle. Again the pressure gets reduced. Here pressure is not going to reduce in this fixed set of blades. So this is set of fixed set of blade, but pressure is not going to reduce, but here pressure is going to reduce. So this is combination of what we call as a pressure velocity compounding and pressure compounding. So here this pressure first falls into this nozzle and velocity increases. Once this pressure gets reduced, so it remains constant up to first stage, and this velocity gets reduced when it passes through the moving blade. Again it remains constant when it passes through the fixed set of blade. Again velocity gets reduced when it passes through the second set of moving blade. But when it passes into the second stage, again this velocity increases and pressure is going to reduce. Again this pressure reduced is up to the last stage and up to the condenser pressure. So this remains constant, whereas this velocity gradually gets reduced in moving blade. Again in fixed blade it remains same. Again it gets reduced in the moving blade. Again it remains constant. So this is how this is combination of pressure and velocity compounding. The kinetic energy absorbed in various stages. So here in previous case what we see is the kinetic energy which was converted from this enthalpy is absorbed in step by step here. So kinetic energy is converted in nozzle, that is absorbed and converted into mechanical work with the help of moving blade. So this is how the pressure velocity compounding is made in case of steam turbine, in order to avoid the very high velocity of steam and a very high speed of turbine blades, so which will cause loss because of very high centrifugal force. Now coming to the velocity diagram, what this velocity diagram is. So this velocity diagram is nothing but it is the diagram which indicates the velocity of steam and its components. So now let us see here alpha 1. This alpha 1 is the angle, so VA1. So this VA1 is the absolute velocity of steam entering into this blade or hitting this blade. So VA1 is the absolute velocity, and this makes angle alpha with the horizontal, or alpha 1 is the angle made by absolute velocity at inlet, which makes with the moving plane of blade. So if this blade moves in this horizontal direction, then this alpha is the angle made by absolute velocity of steam with the horizontal. So alpha 1 is the angle made by absolute velocity of steam at inlet with the plane of moving blades, with the plane of moving blades. Now next we see alpha 2. So alpha 2 is the angle made by the absolute velocity of steam at the exit made with the direction of blade. So this is the angle made by absolute velocity of steam at outlet or exit with the plane of moving blade. Then beta 1, let beta 1 is the blade angle at inlet. So beta 1, so this beta 1 is the blade angle. So this is the tangential. If we take a tangent at the inner curve, so this if it is extended, this is the angle made by blade at inlet. So this is blade angle at inlet. Angle at inlet. Beta 2 is blade angle at outlet. So this is, if we draw a tangent at this outlet, so if it is extended, so that makes angle beta with the direction of movement of this blade. And u is circumferential or tangential velocity of blade. It is circumferential or tangential velocity of blade. Then VA1 is absolute velocity of steam at inlet of moving blade. And V suffix A2 is absolute velocity of steam at outlet of moving blade. Then VW1, velocity of whirl velocity of whirl at the exit of moving blade. VW1 is the velocity of whirl at inlet, at the inlet of moving blade, that is tangential component of absolute velocity of Va1. So if we take if we resolve this Va1 along horizontal direction, so we get Vw1. So Vw1 is nothing but it is tangential or horizontal component of Va1, which is written as Va1 cos alpha 1. Then Vw2 is velocity of whirl at the outlet of moving blade, and this is Vw2 is nothing but component of Va2. If this Va2 is resolved along horizontal direction, then that gives us Va2 cos alpha 2. Then Vf1 is velocity of flow at the entry of moving blade. Velocity of flow at the entry of moving blade, and it is also a component if we resolve this Va1. If we resolve this Va1 along vertical direction, then we get Vf1. So Vf1 is nothing but Va1 sine alpha 1. It is sine alpha 1. So Vf2 velocity of flow at the outlet of moving blade. So this is nothing but component of Va2. So if we resolve this Va2 along vertical direction, we get Va2 cos alpha 2. Cos alpha 2. Then Vr1. So it is the relative velocity of steam to moving blade at the entrance. It is relative velocity of steam to moving blade. So what is relative velocity? If both are moving in the same direction, so the relative velocity gets added. If both are moving in opposite direction, the velocity gets subtracted. So that is nothing but a relative velocity. If a person is standing outside the vehicle, so for example a person standing on the road and a bus is moving, then a person says that bus is moving. So that is nothing but he is talking in terms of relative motion. So person standing is saying that bus is moving because he is standing. So there is a difference between velocity. Velocity of person standing outside the bus is 0 and velocity of bus is something at 60 kilometers per hour. So the difference is 60 minus 0 is 60. So that 60 is relative velocity. So here relative velocity of steam to moving blade at the entrance, at inlet, Vr2 is relative velocity of steam to moving blade at outlet. Then m suffix s is Mass of steam moving over the blades per second. Mass of steam flowing over the blade per second. Let d be the mean diameter of blade drum. Blade drum in meter. H be the height of blade in meter. So these velocity diagrams, this is velocity diagram at inlet and this is velocity diagram at outlet. So these two velocity diagrams are combined. Now you can see here. So velocity diagram at inlet is combined VA1. So this is VA1 alpha 1. Say for example this we call this as point A, point B, point C. So here this point A is here, point B and point C. A, B, C, and this point we call as D. This point as D, so point D. So this diagram is here, A, B, C, D. So all points are taken and angles are copied. Whereas this diagram which we have here at the bottom, this is outlet diagram P, Q, R, E, S. So here we can see P. P and Q. So this point is S. Yes, this point is R and this is Q and P. So A is made to coincide with Q and P is made to coincide with B. P, Q, R, S. So now you can see here P to R, PR is VR2, PR is VR2. So instead of getting two different diagrams, so both the diagrams are combined as a single velocity diagram. So this velocity diagram at inlet and velocity diagram at outlet is combined and represented in this way. So this is on left hand side velocity diagram at outlet and velocity diagram at inlet. So these things which are shown with the help of this blade are represented generally by this way, and this is how we call this diagram as a velocity diagram of steam turbine. Now we see here rho is the speed ratio which is represented. Rho is nothing but speed ratio which is given as U divided by VA2. So this is known as this ratio of velocity of this circumferential or tangential velocity of blade to absolute velocity at the outlet is known as a speed ratio. Then K, which is known as a blade velocity coefficient, which is given as VA2 divided by V. The combined inlet and outlet velocity diagrams on the same base U are shown in this diagram. The work done on the blade is due to force along the direction of its movement. The change in velocity of wheel causes a force to act on the blades in the direction of motion The velocity of flow determines the mass of steam flowing through the blade rows. The axial thrust force is also caused by any change in the flow velocity. The absolute velocity of steam entering and leaving the turbine decides the inlet and exit blade angles when the turbine is running at a constant speed. So this is how these are the things which are concerned or related to the velocity diagram. So you may get a question in the exam to draw velocity diagram for a particular turbine or a problem. So in next class we will be discussing about the work done on a turbine blade and efficiency of the various components of turbine, and if possible we will solve one or two problems where we will draw velocity diagrams also. Thank you.